All right. Are we ready? We're going to talk about how to create your best health. Okay? What's your why? We've talked about what's your purpose and how this is important. I'm going to start with telling you a story. And it starts from the question, what do I need to achieve success? And so this is a story of a young man who asked this question, what do I need to achieve success? And he heard that there's a guru out there who has this answer. So he went on search for this gifted man, and he found him. And he said to this guru, what do I need to do to find success? And so the guru said, absolutely, I can definitely help you. Meet me at the beach at 4 a.m. Now, thankfully the beach was close by. The next day, he met him at the beach at 4 a.m. right on the dot. And he said, Guru, what is the secret to success? And the guru said, I'll tell you. Let's go for a walk, and we're going to walk towards the water. And so he took the young man by the hand to the water, and he said, let's walk a little further. And now the water was up at his ankles. And the young man said, what's the secret to success? And the guru said, let's go a little further. And now the water was up to his waist level. And now he's starting to tread some water. And the young man said, Guru, what is the secret to success? And the guru said, I will tell you. We're going to go a little further. Now he's treading water and the water's up to here. And he said, what's the secret to success? And he's getting tired. And the guru takes the man's head and pushes it into the water. And the young man is struggling. He's struggling. And the guru says, what do you want? And the young man pushes his head up and says, air. I want air. And the guru takes the man up and helps him back onto the beach. And he smiles and he chuckles at himself. And the young man thinks that this guru guy, he's crazy. Yeah, he doesn't know what he signed up for. And he said, okay, finally, what is the secret to success? And the guru said, the secret to success is you have to want success just as much as you wanted air in that moment. Okay? So how does this relate to what we're going to talk about today? Let's first talk about how do you define success. We're not talking about material success or financial success. We're talking really about reaching your true potential. We all have a potential. For some people that's up here, some people it's here. But it's about reaching your true potential, achieving your best health possible, recovering from your injuries, okay? And along the way, hopefully finding spiritual or mental success at the same time. And to do that, that comes from a burning desire, from a sense of purpose from inside of you. Just like how that young man wanted air, you have to want it just as bad, okay? We're going to talk about a principle that I believe is missing in a lot of our lives, and maybe we have it, but we don't even know, okay? And this principle is going to help motivate you from the inside out, okay? It's called the Golden Circle, okay? It was developed by Simon Sinek. We're big into TED Talks, and you've heard about that phrase TED Talk. He's got the third most watched TED Talk of all time. I think it's like 35 million or something like that. So he also wrote a book called Start With Why. And so if you look at this golden circle, inside you'll see the word why. In the middle is how and what on the outside. Okay? So let's take our office as an example. Okay? Who's been to our office? Most people. Okay? So why does myself and our team get up every morning and come to work? Right? Because we know our why. And before we start every day, you may not even know this, before every meeting we ask everybody, what's our vision, what's our why? And our why is to enhance patients' lives. It's not to give the best chiropractic care possible. That's what we do, okay? Our why is to enhance patients' lives. Our how is how we do it, okay? Our how is how we do it, and that's to create a spark of hope in people. That healing happens the moment that people walks through our doors. So this is an example, okay? And the what, that comes later. That's the chiropractic adjustment, the activator method that we specialize in. For other chiropractors, it might be something different. For other therapists, their what is different. But it's very important that we know our why, because when you start with your why, all the decisions that you make come from that point. And if you don't know how to do something or what to do, I talked to Ezra, patients don't know what exercises to do or how to do them. But the ones who show up and know their why, they've got their burning desire, I want to recover from my injuries, I want to spend more time with my grandchildren, I want to be able to enjoy life, I want to be able to volunteer and give back to the community. Those are the ones who get the results they're looking for. And the ones who don't know their why, then usually they just fall behind. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through an exercise together. Okay, so who's got their book? Everybody have their book? Yeah. So inside of your book, you're going to draw the 3 circles.
On different pages?
On one page, exactly like we have here. Now, some of you may know your why, okay, your purpose, what drives you, what motivates you, what gets you up in the morning. A lot of us know what our what is, what we do, right? If you're retired, you may not know what you do, actually. Yeah. And that's actually really important, because it shouldn't be retire, it should be refire, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to force you to determine your why today. That's a point where you need to reflect. If you know it already, then you can write your why in the inside. If you don't, then we're going to go through this exercise right now. If you don't know what your why is, okay? What do you do well? You're going to answer these questions in your book. Okay, we're going to just spend a few minutes doing this. What do you do well and still feel happy? Okay? It's not, I do my job really well, but I hate it. Right? It's what do you do well? So something that you're talented, you feel skilled in, you feel like you're good at, and you still feel happy while you do it. Okay? When do others see you happy? Okay. What do you do for free for others that brings you happiness? Okay, so I just had a patient the other day. She's a teacher who's burnt out and not feeling like she's making a difference in her lives. She goes to the garden center, and that's actually one of her talents. And she found herself giving advice to everybody, telling them the species, how to water their plants, how to take care of them. And I could just see her face light up. I said, you're giving out free advice, and look how happy you are. Now she's considering a career change. Now, that may not be something you need to do, but that's something that what I want you to start thinking about. What do you do for free for others that brings you happiness? What makes you smile, laugh, and forget time? So just answer those 4 questions, okay? So does anybody want to share their why or one of their answers? Anybody? No? Okay. Okay. So this exercise is only the beginning. So I want you to take this home, and if you can complete this golden circle, I guarantee you that whatever your goal is, you're going to be able to achieve it 10 times faster, 10 times better than you ever imagined. Okay? Go for it.
I have something I'll share.
I've been approached several times by people that I work with, oh, when are you going to retire?
Yeah.
And I just don't think I will until I can't do my job, because I like what I do, and I have more joy working. There's times I'm tired and I don't feel like I'd rather be home, but I really enjoy it, and I don't see retiring as being productive because it's more self-serving, unless I'm doing some other maybe activity that I choose to do. But so that's what motivated me. The thought of retiring is just like, why? Because I like what I do too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Absolutely. Anybody else? Okay. Quite often we think about what we do as a financial kind of end goal, right? And retirement is looking at the numbers, but it could be working, it could be volunteering your time, right? And that really gives you a sense of fulfillment and happiness at the end of the day. And really, if we're looking for our best health, that's where our longevity is going to come in, from a sense of happiness. Okay? I think about, and it's kind of, right now it's a sad story, but I think about a gentleman who I just saw this week, and he was in a car accident, and he's going through a really tough time, and he has young children at home. He started seeing us last year, and he started making some improvements, and the next thing for him to do was to see a kinesiologist, to start exercising and start training. And they were telling him what to do, right? And how to do the exercises. And he was recovering, he was feeling better. I saw his sense of self-worth improve. He felt like there was an end, that he was going to be able to provide for his family again and be able to be with his children and not be in pain and sit kind of by the park bench while they're playing. And then his funding for the training got cut off. And that made him very angry and frustrated. Very angry and frustrated. And then just, boom, a matter of 2 weeks, he said, I'm not motivated. I can't do it anymore. And it was really sad to see, because people were telling him how he should be doing things and what, and he was listening, but by no fault of his own, he didn't discover what his why was, or he didn't remember it or carry it with him through his recovery process. Because when those trainers left his side, he knew what to do. He's been training for the last 6 months. When they left him, he didn't know what to do. And his why, this internal desire, this burning fire, wasn't there. And his why could have been because he wants to be able to provide for his family, to spend time with his children. And we had a good conversation, but this is probably something where he needed to start, and then you start from the inside and then start building out. Right? Okay. And so that brings us to a really good example where we're constantly in this tug of war, right? Now if we can understand where we're supposed to go, our why is driving us up this hill or pulling us in one direction, there's an opposite reaction sometimes that's pulling us. This tug of war that you see is sometimes not other people, but what's going on in our head, our internal dialogue, right? It's kind of like a story that we tell ourselves. I'm never going to get better. I'm always going to be in pain. That arthritis that I was diagnosed with, that's where my pain's coming from, and I'm always going to have it. What we may not know actually is that arthritis and pain aren't even correlated directly. People can have severe levels of arthritis and still have no pain and full function. So we have these self-limiting beliefs that are pulling us in a different direction. And sometimes they're thoughts, really. It's coming from our mind, and I'm not saying that you can't be in pain and not feel it, but it's coming from your mind, and it's almost like the mind, right? Not your mind, but the mind. And some of the tips that I've learned from Shahana, and you remember that I had my injury about 4 years ago, and I gave this talk last year about how I injured myself in my recovery. and some of you may not know that, and you can watch our talk from last year, is that you almost have to watch it like traffic on a highway going by. You're driving and these thoughts are just coming and going, this internal dialogue, and you acknowledge it. That's the best thing that you can do. And then you let that why, that internal purpose, pull you in the opposite direction. Okay. Now there's a lot more that we can go into that, and that's that cognitive behavioral therapy that Shahana was talking about. We can pick up that conversation another time, but I just want you to be aware of that. Okay. So I love this quote. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. Well, I had somebody tell me, well, I work on an assembly line. This is what I do and how I do it. Why is it important for me to have a why? Right? Why is it important? This photo is of St. Peter's Cathedral. Pardon? Basilica? Yeah, Basilica. Okay. It was designed by Christopher Wren, I believe is his name. And he, during the time that it was built, he was walking along, and unbeknownst to the people working there who he was, he asked one of the bricklayers, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm laying down bricks," the first man replied. And then he went along and he asked the second man, "What are you doing?" And the second man said, "Well, I'm earning a wage, 5 pence." And then he went to the third man and asked, "What are you doing?" And the next man said, "I'm building this beautiful structure for Christopher Wren and this community." And so that man had a purpose and a vision. And it's just like the story from 1961 of J.F. Kennedy when he goes to NASA for the first time, and he walks by a janitor, and he asks the janitor, what are you doing? And the janitor says, "I'm helping take man to the moon." Right? This is in 1961. Right? So it doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, or how you're doing it. Having a sense of why is very important. And spending the time on it, where just like at our office, before we start seeing patients, many of you, we ask everybody and we remind ourselves, what is our why? Right? So if it's worth doing, it's worth doing every day. And where your focus goes, that's where your energy goes. And that's how you can take this tug of war and start pushing yourself forward. Okay, so let's talk about modeling. Not the kind where you're on a runway and you're in good clothes, okay? But modeling means looking at the fact that success leaves clues. Okay, go figure out what someone who was successful did and model it, improve it, but learn their steps. Don't reinvent the wheel. They actually have knowledge. Sometimes we might envy some people, or we don't think we can do that, but actually looking up to those people and say, okay, wow, that was very impressive. How about some people who knew why they were doing something, but other people thought they were crazy? What are some examples of that? How about someone like, who here's been to Disneyland? A lot of people, okay? A lot of people, yeah. Young and old, right? When Disney was first coming out with his concept, do you know what everybody told him? That he was crazy and unimaginative. Unimaginative, right? Then he told them, sometimes all you have to do is jump off a cliff and grow wings on the way down. So you know your why, you'll figure out how you're gonna do it, right? And what you're supposed to do. It's kind of like, I was training with Ezra the other day, and I've got a few injuries myself, and I was telling him, I don't know how I'm gonna do this exercise. I'm worried, I was scared. And because I knew he had a burning why, he wanted to really help me, I trusted him. And we went through the exercise and I felt a lot more comfortable. But that was just a fear in my head, right? Okay, any other examples that you can think of? How about Albert Einstein? He didn't talk until he was 4 and read and write until he was 7. And I think he kind of got the hang of things and figured things out along the way. Okay. J.K. Rowling. How many times was Harry Potter rejected? It was 12 times. And she went through depression, divorce, she was on welfare. But she knew she had something great and that she wanted to get as many people as possible. She wanted to enhance as many people's lives as possible. So remember that it's that internal dialogue that we have is that sometimes it's a lot of I statements. I can't do this. I'm not good enough, right? I need to lose weight. I need to look better. Those are all I statements. But if you think about your why, when you go home, you go back to that piece of paper, that's actually a statement that's beyond you, okay? It's not, I want to live a healthy life. Because you can only give so much to yourself. That only lasts for so long. I want to recover. No, it's like, I want to heal and recover so I can help somebody else, or I can help my family. That's where that's going to come from. So this is the latest book, Find Your Why. If you want to write this down, it's a great book, actually. And I think we have it at our office if you want to sign it out. If you want some more resources on how to find your why. Okay.
So it was by Simon who?
Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So when you wake up in the morning, I want you to think of this analogy that it's kind of like tripod of a camera, right? The tripod is formed by those outer rings of the golden circle, the how and the what, okay? But the lens that which you view the world when you wake up in the morning is through your why. Is through your why. So look, the lens we look through will determine what we see, okay? And if you look through that lens hard enough and you want it just as much as that man wanted air, then I can almost guarantee you'll get what you want. You'll get that success. Okay? And we'll end there. Thank you very much.